What's going on today? This morning, we're going to be talking about liberal elites versus conservative elites, the two-sided coin. So, this is going to be a topic that is kind of eye-opening. Some of the things that you already know, a little spin of basically kind of how basically modern media propagandize individuals to think that you cannot achieve a certain higher level of success, brainwashing, so to speak, mixed in with certain red tapes and gatekeeping and organizational alignments and all kinds of stuff. It is very, very difficult to conceptualize trying to go from the bottom to the top. Um, the propaganda and a lot of the brainwashing comes in with movies and TV. You have all of these dystopian films, such as Hunger Games, and um, you just it's so many to name. It's utterly ridiculous. But one of the damages that is done from watching these films is that this is primarily with not so much it's not necessarily race oriented, but definitely it is race oriented in the sense of you have to acknowledge in the black community per se that wealth is so elusive, or riches and wealth is so elusive, that you do have a big segment of individuals in the black community, or let's just say black people, that believe that actual riches and wealth is aligned with whiteness. Meaning, if you are rich and wealthy, they believe that you have aligned yourself with some type of uh, white organizational structure, or some type of white savior has given you this money, and that's how you got it, not through your own you know work and labor or intellectual property. It's some white guy or some white non-for-profit group or something gave you all of this, and that's why you have it. It almost is to say that basically, for you to actually the brainwashing is so thick in the black community that if you did do anything to make a living and make some type of higher echelon income, such as, let's just say, $1 million a year plus, or a million plus, that you have sold something such as your soul, or you've made some type of sacrifice, blood sacrifice. It is that serious as far as brainwashing and propaganda that's being pushed uh, so severe on the black community and the psyche of the black community and the average person in the black community, that they actually believe that. And certain individuals have pushed that for their own, just kind of very much for crumbs, because in the conscious community, in the black conscious community, a lot of people were selling these or making these discussions and talking about the Illuminati and all of these other things. And the damage that was done was, yeah, there. I'm not gonna say that there's not. I started off this discussion prefacing, the organizations, the gatekeeping and stuff like that. I'm not gonna say that things people in back rooms and smoke filled rooms are not making decisions and not starting conspiracies and anything like that. What I'm saying is the damage that was done from a lot of these discussions was putting people in a state of fear, in a state of basically inaction, meaning all these people at the top are so, you know, scary, I won't even compete with them. So a lot of times what people have to do, and I guess I'm no different in doing the same thing, is trying to tear apart some of that brainwashing, some of that propaganda, basically kind of being an anti-propagandist to try to chunk away or tear away some of the propaganda. I have to preface this before I get into this discussion because there are so many black people and others that are so brainwashed. They're brainwashed into a certain level of basically being non-competitive that they don't even compete. So I just I had to basically put that out there first, before I get into basically some discussions, some videos that is basically I'm gonna play. This is primarily why I'm doing this live stream is because I kind of saw a video, and that video just kind of made it, it's not nothing new because a lot of elites do the same things that I'm going to critique in the video. What they do is they tell you, they mix some, they mix facts, they mix like a small amount of facts, and they basically don't put context to it as well, other facts that they try to state, or even ad hominems. They don't state exactly where they came, where, like, the fine details of that. It's like that's where the whole one-sided coin or two-sided coin is. They omit a lot of things as far as the discussions. I myself, I don't play one side. I don't like to play one side. It's nuances in both. And say I'll say the whole liberal side and the conservative side. A lot of those issues have already been discussed by others. Um, so I'm not gonna go into depth with what those are, but basically, this is what primarily people are dealing with on a day-to-day basis. They're dealing with this here: income disparity. Okay, the bottom 40%. There's a chart here that I got from a live stream. I don't know where I got it from, but this is basically the bottom 40% with 1.58 trillion in income. And as you can see on the right here, the top 1% have more than the bottom 40% combined. And this is in the United States. Okay. So the very, very top 1% have 1.64 trillion, which is more than the bottom 40% combined. Okay. Now, when it comes to wealth, it gets even crazy because, see, here's the thing about income. This is why this right chart is off the fucking chain. It's off the fucking chain. Because you see the actual wealth, because income and wealth is two different things. The Top 1% have 34.7 trillion in actual wealth, and the bottom 40% only have 200, just shy of $250 billion in actual wealth. This this is this is like insane, right? But why is this? Why does this actually work out like this? It's because the bottom 40% are not saving any money. A lot of times they have a certain way that they live their life that they don't have any savings, for one, because a lot of people are house poor. Even, you could even say rent poor. They're paying a overabundant amount of money, meaning over 50% of their income in housing. Primarily, a lot of people in the Northeast, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Vermont, all of that area, the DMV, the rent prices are really, really high. And obviously, the mortgage prices are also high. Ain't no hardly money for them to save money and put it away. A lot of times, it's just more competitive as far as cost of living in certain areas. And you got to understand, these are people that are not, you know um necessarily financial experts. Okay, they might not even consult with financial experts. How many people actually consult with financial experts? How many people actually even value financial experts? So a lot of things are, kind of different when it comes to what the rich and wealthy do versus what the bottom 40% do. Okay, they do totally different things. They have totally different mindsets. And who is more a victim of brainwashing, the wealthy elites or the bottom 40%? The bottom 40% are the ones watching other people get rich, watching TV primarily for a means of escapism and entertainment, discussion and folly on the internet, entertainment and folly on the internet, rather than things to self improve your life. These are the activities of the bottom 40%. Okay. And that is why by the time you get to the wealth category on the right, there is no wealth, because all of the money is going towards liabilities, current expenses. It's no money hardly whatsoever. You got to, wealth is savings, hard assets, liquid assets. Okay, hard assets is like this table here that I bought at the Goodwill for $8. That's solid wood. You know, this is computer desk. This house that's over 100 years old is a hard asset. Okay, um, all of everything that is you bought that is basically hard for the hard asset is hard for you to sell it to get money. That's why I think that's why it's called a hard asset, but it's not. That's not why. But basically, a good rule of thumb is it's hard for you to convert that into actual capital or liquid capital, which is anything that's in a bank account, cash, coins, things of that nature, things that you could go to a bank and basically use directly for to pay debt services, for debt services and goods. So a lot of the bottom 40%, as you can see here, they don't have any, hardly anything left over to have as far as wealth. Okay, they don't have it. So these are the daily issues and problems that the bottom 40% have to deal with every single day. And what you're dealing with now is a country that is trying to look for a new leadership to help possibly pull down. Just look at this as some type of like they're looking for the wealthy to pull a rope down, or not even a rope really, to really just maybe throw some of that green down to the bottom, this green over to the right, like maybe scrape some off the top and then sprinkle it down to the bottom 40%. That is what the country is looking for, that are on the bottom 40%. People at the top, people at the top 10%, top 20%, they kind of know how things work. They have a system, they have some type of inheritance, or they have the wealth already to kind of weather the storm. They, not necessarily trying to see what's going on too, or what's going to happen, but they may or may not have a idea of what's going to happen. Um, the bottom 40% are, waiting for a check pretty much. Just be honest. Okay, I am in the bottom 40%, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm in the bottom 40%. Okay. Just to put that in perspective, I mean, I do have a little wealth, but not much. Okay. Um, so the thing is let me play this video here and kind of just go right into it. Go right into this here. And I have to also preface this, you know, I have to also preface this. This is very, very important. Okay. This is very, very important. Okay, let me see. Um, yeah, this is extremely important. Because a lot of people are not understanding different types of warfare. You see if I can find this here. There we go. All right. And this is what I mean by, by propaganda, and by just overall kind of what people face generally on a daily basis, generally speaking. So you have psychological warfare. This is a big one. Okay. This is what literally gets a lot of people messed up in the game. This first one right here, psychological warfare, literally does it. Literally does it. How does it do it? You're watching what? A lot of social media. You have you have videos coming up on your algorithm. Okay. I see this real, like, Facebook algorithm is like real time. Like as soon as you say something, it could even be, you can be typing something and it has nothing to do with the internet. It has nothing to do with Facebook. You go right back to Facebook, the first couple videos, first posts are exactly what you just typed. don't even talk about turning on the TV and the radio. You just get your straight jacket ready. Just get it. Just pick out your straight jacket. Okay. When you turn on the TV and the radio, and then you're watching movies, and you don't really have a good sense of like a grounded sense of reality, and kind of seeing what's Hollywood and what seeing what all these sounds and stuff like that are trying to do to your eyeballs and trying to shoot to your cerebellum. Just get your straight jacket ready. And consume with entertainment is and celebrityism and all the music that people are playing now on the radio, and that are in a top 100 or top songs or whatever. This is why people are pushed towards a certain way of life. This is psychological warfare. Usually I mean it does it like one of the things I have to say is the United States has some of the best psychological warfare on the planet. I would say hands down. I mean it is top tier, and nobody really hardly talks about this shit. And that psychological warfare usually puts people in their place because one, people don't acknowledge it, and basically two, people don't really have any solutions for it. Well, I just gave you those basically by stating what the fuck mainly how people fall victimized to this. Do not take social media serious like that. One, and then yeah, I've been turned off the TV and all of that type of shit. I do not watch TV as much as I used to, and cable TV and all of that. I cut that over 10 years ago, or close to 10 years ago. I don't even have time to watch cable TV and all of that. Even if I wanted to, I don't even have the time. These things, these like I said, these things alone will put people in a state of delusion to where they cannot compete. Even if they wanted to compete, they can't because they are brainwashed. If you're brainwashed, you're basically you void. You can't hardly compete. Like I'll just even talk about it like basketball. In basketball, that's why a lot of times people try to basically talk shit. They'll say, you wet, meaning you're basically, trash. You're this, you're that. Because they're trying to get in your mind for you not to compete. Or for you to over compete and then crash out, and then basically lose all your energy, and then basically your opponent can basically conserve his energy and then win the game. Okay. Or score more points over you while you all huffing and puffing because you've overworked yourself, because you fell for these psychological tricks of this person talking shit to you on a basketball court. It's kind of like that. That's what it's like. And it's usually gets people. This gets people to the point where it gets them. This I psychological warfare alone puts people in a state of, not only do they not make any money, they do not compete financially or even just in life overall. They don't even have kids. They psychological warfare will have you not even wanting to fuck. That's how deep this shit goes. Like, I mean, I the this number one right here, this was the first thing I put on here. I made this meme here or whatever. I made it into a video. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to play the music or whatever. But this alone, like this is why people, because a lot of times what it is people also following the herd. That's a psychological warfare tactic. You're following other people that's been brainwashed, makes you basically brainwashed. This really this really messes. I mean, it's you got a whole demographic of culture of people that are literally they don't even know they're under a psychological warfare spell. I mean, literally. Like you got a whole demographic of people that are under basically a deep state of almost hypnosis, and they don't even know about it. They have no idea what's going on. By the time they look up, they old living in a nursing home that's state funded, and they don't even know their whole life passed away before their eyes. So this is really really a big deal, very big deal. This is why things are the way they are, why people are the way they are, because of the brainwashing. You got to understand the damage of decades and decades of brainwashing, what that does on the mind, what that does for people's lives. And you got to understand also why you're being brainwashed, others are out hitting the ground running every single day. They might be victimized to the brainwashing to a certain extent, or just got to understand the ones that are aware of the brainwashing, they're out there competing, doing the best they can every single day while you're brainwashed. Then secondly, you have economic warfare. If the psychological warfare doesn't do it for you, economic warfare over the economy. That's pretty much what's going on. That's why everything is all fucked up. Even outside the psychological shit, the psychological bullshit doesn't get you. That's pretty much what's going on. Economic warfare. Okay. That's pretty much what's going on. You know, the job layoffs. Okay, you got to understand why would there be layoffs? A person, okay, the average person does not have a business mindset. They don't have a business and investment mindset. Some people are growing into that. They're going into that a little bit. People are trying. I see people online. I see people trying, but for the most part, what are you dealing with? You're dealing with people from Penn, Dartmouth, Yale, Rutgers, University of Chicago, Princeton, Harvard, that are, basically getting high level forms of business education. People that already have that the education, they're out there making moves. They're in committees, organizations, already making moves, already been making moves, already are wealthy, already are elite. They are the movers and shakers. They are the hirers and firers. You are you yourself being at the bottom 40%. How do you compete with that? How do you compete with that? The black community. How does the black community compete with economic warfare? Being on an independent model, being brainwashed and propagandized by psychological warfare to be independent mindset oriented, being a matriarchal ran culture. Rich really, to be honest, this whole country is under a matriarchal uh type of influence, race unabated. The women basically having the strings and the purses over the simps. The no pussy getting, I worship pussy simps let basically the women do whatever they want because they want pussy. Yeah, this is not your typical financial channel. This is a little more graphic, and I'll say gangster, than your typical financial channel. So this, you know, viewer beware. Yeah, that's why I keep posting shit about relationship shit. You got one of the few black elites that we do have in this country. Uh, basically, Frazier. Um, I forgot. I don't know if that's his first name or last name, but basically, he said the black community's worst problem is the black relationships, the black um, nuclear family, pretty much is one of the worst problems in America. So that's why I keep posting that shit, because it is a problem. It is an issue. How what good? Okay, I'm a chess player. What good is you trying to play a game of chess when your queen does not listen to what you have to? You say go over here, she doesn't even fucking listen. How are you gonna win a fucking game like that? Exactly. So even before you even get outside of psychological warfare, still you still have to deal with economic warfare. And in the black community, on that independent mindset and that model, they you can't independently fucking form businesses and do successfully well when you are independent. You try the single manager owner mindset does work to a certain degree if you can work it, but you're going to have limitations after the second you get tired, which is probably be the first day you start doing this shit. And then you realize the value of employees, why people actually hire people. and then you yourself maybe, you know, grassroots starting to trying to start a business. You don't necessarily have the money to pay for employees yet, and you got some people that don't even want to pay for employees. They want to be because they want to save money, and they have trust issues. They don't have business or employees, so they only have one single location. Then something happens, kitchen fire, something, know, then they're, maybe most likely gotta close up the business or some type of other financial constraint, and they just don't ever grow the business. I remember asking my grandfather, I was like, why didn't you scale or open up other locations in other parts of the city? And he was like, you know, he did what he wanted to do. That's what he wanted to do, just have that location, and that was it. Like, but I could tell my grandfather did have trust issues. He pretty much only had his family run his business, maybe a couple strangers. That was it. But that's typical black business mindset. Typical, black business mindset is, trust issues. But how about how many people don't even get to that level? My grandfather was basically a business graduate. Okay, he had a bachelor's in business administration. I mean, you know, he knew he was going to go into business. Pretty much, he knew he had a higher level understanding of business than the average person. He actually went into business. And the average person does not have that uh actual background to start any business. Most black people are not business mindset. They're employee mindset. So imagine in a state of economic warfare, how does that play out? Exactly. That's exactly how it plays out. You begging for a job, and I'll show you the face of how that plays out. Give me just a second. I'll show you exactly the face of how that plays out. Yeah, this is how that plays out. I don't have a backup plan. I basically I'm an employee only. I'm a slave, and massa fired me. Yeah, and I mean this is intergenerational programming, intergenerational brainwashing to basically be a slave. So how does a slave survive in economic warfare? Exactly. physical warfare, clear and present war that is physically present. I would show a video, but YouTube, you know, they they don't they don't necessarily they want the liberal Disney World uh presentation on their platform. So okay, I'm not gonna show the video, but I'll just kind of show you what a bad day in Chicago will look like in the ghetto under clear and present war that is physically present. In case you didn't living in the hood, you didn't think that was actual peacetime. You didn't because you were yeah you were brainwashed. You didn't think that was actually war. People shooting and getting away with murder around you. You you didn't you didn't think that was war. You just that's just a bad day in the hood. It's just bunch of bunch of people, young people going crazy and all that. Nah, you're not surrounded by war, right? Paying $1,500 a month for rent. Let me just go. Let's go to my regular page. You didn't think that was actually war, right? You thought war was just outside somewhere else, right? No one invaded America. No. eh, No one told you that, right? Or when someone told you, you start arguing with them because you don't want to believe where you have to actually work and spend your hard-earned money paying $1,500 plus a month to be surrounded by shooters and basically killers that get away with murder. And then how do they get away with murder? Right? How do they get away with it? See, this is the nobody really wants to talk about. And speaking of business, don't if you ever hear anybody from Chicago talking about how much money they have, like if they're black talking about how much money they have and they don't have no businesses, this is the type of shit. This is the type of shit that I see, you know, on a day-to-day basis. Um, Let me share this real quick. Wait, hold on. There we go. This is the only black bowling alley in Chicago. Black owned bowling. All them black people talking about they got money in Chicago. This is the best they can do. One bowling alley that's about to close, by the way, because they don't get any support. If you ever hear any black person talking about they from Chicago and they got a bunch of money, s- please send them this video. So I'm not gonna play the actual. Um, hold on, I'm not gonna play. Um, I'm just gonna freeze frame this shit. Wait, there we go. So this is yeah, this is a bad day in Chicago. This is not the worst day, but it's a pretty bad day on the south side of Chicago. So basically, he's getting jumped with a bunch of dudes with guns. That's a pretty bad scenario. Getting jumped alone is a bad scenario, but getting jumped with guns, that's man. These are the Z's, by the way. This is Z. This is Z. These Z's, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like these Z's, man. These are the terrorists that you. These are the terrorists that are, basically the new age terrorists. I mean, these are the Z's, and um, this happened somewhere on the south side of Chicago, and you got to understand how are they able to do this? Okay, how are they able to get away with this? You have a community of people that are brainwashed. That's how they're brainwashed and basically unaware. You know, uh, they had a certain amount of time that they could do this, and then nobody brave enough is willing to come outside and say, "Get away from here." Come outside and basically you'd have to come outside with probably a fucking M16. um get away from here. All it took was one brave man, uh, let alone woman. But you know what I mean, a lot of these parts of these areas of Chicago demographically are unmarried single people, primarily single mothers with children. A lot of these men, young men in this video, I would say probably most of them are the products of a single mother ran household, a defiant single mother that wanted to be single more than in a relationship with a man. Physical warfare, clear and present war that is physically present. We all know, okay, the Army, the Marines, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard, going over somewhere fighting, that's physical warfare, but we don't think about the fucking warfare in America, the fucking warfare in these, you know, places where they allow this shit to go on because they don't give a fuck. They want these motherfuckers to just shoot and kill each other. It helps everybody else out. that is basically they don't have to deal with these people. It's collateral damage. Now, spiritual warfare. Oh damn. Oh man. Yeah. That's just hilarious. Okay, yeah. Spiritual warfare. Warfare over the spirit. That's how they get you too. Between psychological warfare and spiritual warfare, they have you stuck in a trance. So, I mean, the reason why I'm going over this, the reason why this is important is because before I get to all the other shit, without prefacing this won't fucking make sense before I get to the next video. This is really how they get you. Warfare over the spirit, over the soul. It got you in a tizzy. You bopping to the beat. What are you bopping to? Guys talking about guns and killing and all kind of dealing. That's what you that's what you're bopping to. Destruction. You know, they had a song in a late 80s called "You Headed for Self-Destruction." That's what you listen to. That's what the music is now, primarily self-destructive music. You know, self-destruction is the new wave. That's the way to go, to be self-destructive. People are trying to, I know you probably want to watch this. Hilarious posts her thirst traps on social media. I'm not really not really convinced. I don't like fake people. I like real people with real body parts as well. So anyway, yeah, the warfare over the spirit, and that's not necessarily something that you getting from a church. Can't go to no religious center and think that that's gonna help your spirit. You got a bunch of you got a bunch of evil people in church, evil spirits in church, evil spirits in the masjid, in the synagogue, and all kind of other places. Spiritual warfare is within. Okay, that's a battle within your soul. So yeah, that's how they get you. I mean, they try to, music, you know, certain frequencies, visions, perceptions, all of this stuff is a battle, spiritual warfare. So I just had to preface all of that. Okay, about an hour of preface. I know I hurt a whole bunch of feelings. I killed a whole bunch of narratives that people cannot handle because they're most likely brainwashed. So I'm going to move further to the topic of discussion, which is this particular 14, I think it's a 14-minute video of someone that aligns himself, I believe, with the liberal elite. Okay, so let's play this video and see what's going on here. So this dude goes by David Brooks. Okay. Let's cue this up.
My parents were so I have a confession to make. I'm a member of the educated elite. My parents were historians of Victorian England. Our turtles, when I was growing up, were named Disraeli and Gladstone. The culture in our home was think Yiddish, act British. Very stiff upper lip. We showed no emotion. And then when I was 7, I read a book called Paddington the Bear and decided I want to become a writer. And that was central to my identity ever since. In high school, which you call like fourth form or something like that, I wanted to date a woman named Bernice, and she didn't want to date me. She dated some other guy. And I remember thinking, what is she thinking? I write way better than that guy. And so those were my values. And then when I was 18, the admissions officers at Columbia, Wesleyan, and Brown universities decided I should go to the University of Chicago. And some of you may know the saying about Chicago, it's where fun goes to die. My favorite saying about Chicago, it's a Baptist school where atheist professors teach Jewish students St. Thomas Aquinas. And so it's very educated elite. And I fit right in. I had a double major at Chicago in history and celibacy while I was there. And then after school, I got a job where an educated elite person should get a job. I was hired to be the conservative columnist of the New York Times, a job I likened to being the chief rabbi at Mecca. Not a lot of company there. And then I got a job on PBS, which is our PBS NewsHour, which is our version of Newsnight. And again, educated elite. We have a wonderful audience, somewhat seasoned. And so if a 93-year-old lady comes up to me at the airport, I know what she's going to say. I don't watch your program, but my mother loves it. And so we members of the educated elite did some good things. We created the internet brunch and mocktails. You're welcome. We did some bad things. We designed a meritocracy designed around the skills we ourselves possess and rigged the game so we succeeded and everybody else failed. By age 12, American children of affluent kids are 4 grade levels above everybody else.
We play that again.
12 children, American children, are designed around the skills we ourselves possess and rigged the game so we succeeded and everybody else failed. By age 12, American children of affluent kids are 4 grade levels above everybody else.
See what I'm saying? So when you choose who you choose to be with, right? You got to understand when you're looking for women that are basically not high IQ, not trying to be high IQ, they are not going to educate your children on a high level. And that's with or without you, because they will try to, even if you try to step in and do something. You got certain women that they don't want you involved because they want to control everything. You trying to step in, trying to do something, you almost have to be a wizard to basically overcome all of that. And it's like, yeah, choosing a mate to be an elite person or choosing a mate to basically get a nut. And a lot of times, yeah, I mean, guys may have just not, learned. Some guys do get it, but we just taught to, we're programmed and brainwashed to, basically go outside and just have as much fun and sex as you possibly can. And then you get somebody that you don't necessarily want it to be with pregnant. Then now you're stuck in this cycle and you're dealing with a lot of stuff that you already behind. One, that situation doesn't necessarily make you ahead. You get frustrated, and it is based off of how you pick, how you choose your mate. If you choosing a mate versus you know I'm getting a woman, because the women are very much involved in the kids' lives a lot more, because that's just their role. So when you choose a mate that watches TV all day and gives their children's tablets because that's a babysitter, and you got to understand the elites, like he said, on average, their children are 4 grades above. Private tutors, mentors, high levels of study groups, and all kinds of other things that basically enhance children's education, putting forth resources so their children are ahead. While basically, you see it. You saw the movie Dead Presidents. The little boy, he watching his parents drinking Hennessy, playing cards, smoking, having a good time in the house. That was like the average poor family, right? That's what he saw. Then somebody says something, then his father pulls out a gun and shoots the dude. Um, I mean, it's like that's where that starts. And then you got to understand, those same people in that room in that movie, if someone tries to do better or tries to do something, the lower classes, they make fun of you if you're trying to go outside of them. And that is, you got to understand, those types of people, that's what they do. And you got to understand not to even give a fuck about those types of people, because you don't want your child to be a dumb tablet, cell phone person. You want your children to be competitive. And if you do want that, that's what you got to keep in mind. When you looking at a woman, okay, on a base level, attraction is very, very important. I get it. You want to have some woman that you like to, enjoy yourself looking at, but you got to keep also in mind, is this woman intelligent enough to, you know, raise your children? Two, is this woman um peaceful enough to find to basically provide some level of peace? Because you do need a quiet, okay, if your children are trying to study, at least you need a woman to fucking be quiet. I mean, like, if you got a woman and all she's so mentally unstable that she can't keep focused, she can't keep quiet, and she can't, like, just sit down and engage herself with you know some type of activity of silence, that's going to be a problem. Thirdly, she doesn't listen to you. That's another problem. She doesn't follow your authority. She wants to run everything. That's also a problem. That's a problem that women in America have over all groups of men. all racial demographics. And a lot of guys, basically just allow their woman just to run shit. Even this dude, I wouldn't be surprised. He's in his household, his woman a lot. If he has a woman, she's running shit. But the thing about it is I mean, I will say on a matriarchal level, even running shit, a lot of these households, they do have even still the woman running shit, they are competitive. They are competitive. I mean, the Tiger Mom thing or whatever, the bearded dragon lady, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it is a thing. They do compete still. So it's nuances to it. I'm not saying. I mean, I don't like that type of thing, but I do understand it is women that actually are kind of in a matriarchal role in their household, and it's still competitive. Okay, I'm not gonna diminish that fact. It's not something that I like, me personally, but I do understand that it is matriarchal figures that do run shit in their household, and it is a competitive household. So I mean it. I understand nuances, even though I wouldn't necessarily fit in that type of role. But I do understand that those family dynamics are competitive. They have their issues. I'm not going to necessarily go into that, but they are competitive. I will say that. Not all of them, obviously, but
By university age, rich kids are 77 times more likely to go to university or to Ivy League university than kids from poor schools. In adulthood, 54% of the people at elite workplaces went to the same 34 elite colleges.
so you see, like, okay, I played a guy, I think he's called Analyzing Finance by Nick. He talked about how basically Ivy League education plays a role in basically how the elites maintain their elitism and basically just create a factory of basically elite people, just basically churning them out, constantly churning them out. Okay, you're elite already, you got money, so you got the money to send your children to these elite institutions, and the cycle continues. So let me post that video. Let me post that video in the chat here of that live stream. So that's the one. That's the video here in this chat that is of the discussion on the Ivy League, basically elite factories, basically of Ivy League educated individuals that make up what he's talking about. Let me just play this back so you can hear it again.
Kids from poor schools. In adulthood, everybody else. By university age, rich kids kids are 77 times more likely to go to university or to Ivy League university than kids from poor schools. In adulthood, 54% of the people at elite workplaces went to the same 34 elite colleges. So we ended up creating a caste system. People with high school degrees die 9 years sooner than people with college degrees. People with high school degrees are 5 times more likely to have kids out of wedlock. People with high school degrees are 2.4 times more likely to say they have no friends. So we created a caste system, even though we pretend to be egalitarian. But the worst things we did were not material. America has a very strong economy. The worst things we did were spiritual. We privatized morality and destroyed the moral order. George Marsden is a great historian who said, what gave Martin Luther King's rhetoric its power was the sense there's a moral order built into the universe. That if slavery is not wrong, nothing is wrong. If segregation is not wrong, nothing is wrong. We took that essential moral order that holds people together, and we decided it's up to you to find your own truth, find your own values. Back in 1955, a great American journalist named Walter Lippmann understood this was going to be a big problem. He said, if what is right and wrong depends on what each individual feels, then we are outside the bounds of civilization. And so without a strong moral order, it's hard to have trust. It's hard to find your meaning in life. And so America, and I think Britain too, has become a sadder society. Rise in mental health, rise in suicide. 45% of high school students say they are persistently hopeless and despondent. Since 2000, the number of Americans without close personal friends is up by 4-fold. Since 2000, the number of people who say they are in the lowest happiness category is up by 50%. We've just become sadder. The third thing the educated elite has done, and this may not please you, is we produced Donald Trump. Some people think Donald Trump is a populist. Donald Trump and Elon Musk went to the University of Pennsylvania and Ivy League school and became billionaires. J.D. Vance went to Yale. Pete Hegseth went to Princeton and Yale. Stephen Miller went to Duke. Fox News types like Laura Ingraham went to Dartmouth. And they represent the educated elite. And the key factor of the educated elite is that they're not pro-conservative, they're anti-left. They don't have a positive vision, a conservative vision for society. They just want to destroy the institutions that the left now dominates. And this means, in the first place, they're astoundingly incompetent. I have a lot of sympathy with.
Here's the weird shit. This is where this shit get weird, right? Now, I'll have to admit that this is not necessarily party oriented. The Republicans definitely are. They do have basically Greco-Roman society was very, very gay. Okay. And Greco-Roman society led into basically modern British society or Western society, and it led to America. So culturally, Europeans they have no problem with homosexuality. Okay, their culture is very, very strongly supportive of that. Okay, now the thing is that where the left goes into the dumpster fire is pushing the whole rainbow agenda, mainly for population control and just control in general. And they never talk about that. That's their little that's the like elephant in the room that basically nobody, it's like the dumpster that's on fire that nobody wants to talk about, that's in the background. And that's why, that's one of the reasons why people are not, one of the many reasons. And also they are notoriously they're doing under, like, I mean, the stuff he's talking about is like basically the whole basically audit, the government audit is already pointed a lot of things out that what they were actually doing. And this is what these people do. They gaslight you and they omit facts. Okay, they omit a lot of facts. Basically a lot of those facts are very, very important, and they're unsupportive. And if you went on a news anchor show and you start pointing those facts out, they'll immediately cut the broadcast and go to commercial, or cut you off of the panel because they don't want those things, that narrative being pushed to the media.
With what drove people to vote for Trump, but I'm telling you, as someone who's on the front row to what's happening, do not hitch your wagon to that star. Thank you. You're supposed to boo. Pete Hegseth gave away our bargaining chips with Putin before we even had negotiations. Elon Musk has 25-year-olds firing people who are controlling our nuclear codes. It's like Sam Bankman-Fried got control of our nuclear arsenal.
I'll admit, yeah, they Elon he's a fucking sociopath, which is the same thing with Donald Trump. A lot of CEOs, a lot of executives are sociopaths. And I mean, basically they did fuck up a lot of shit. They fired too many people. They fired way too many people. And it, that was dumb. That was dumb. I will admit that. That is true. So yeah, yeah. I mean, it is true. I will say that. That is true.
Second, elite narcissism causes them to eviscerate every belief system they touch. Conservatives believe in healthy societies are built on healthy institutions.
But here's the thing, though. This is the thing that I have with liberal leftists, right? Like him, right? This is the issue. This is the issue I have with these guys, right? So let's stop the screen. So he talked about Chicago, right? Now let's go back. Let's go back to this video here. So this is the issue here that I have with the liberal elites, the leftists, right? They talk all this shit, right? And this is how they uh have their, basically, let me delete let me basically just lower the value. This is the type of stuff that they like to let happen in their on their watch. This is this is the type of stuff that they allowed. Like, they are notoriously the party of the ghetto. This is the stuff that they basically let happen to their blacks. I'll just say I'll just say they're blacks, because that they basically that is their black people. The Democrats were the party of slavery, pretty much. So this is what they do to their blacks, right? This is the stuff they allow this to go on, and the black people that vote Democrat, they allow it to go on as well. This is your son. This is the black son that you trying to figure out how to have with this woman that, you know, basically, got all kinds of problems and shit like that. But this is your son. This is your son right here. Your future son in America that you want to have. Just allowing to get be abused by other men. I mean, of course, neither any of them are saints. I mean, basically, these all of these people involved here talking shit to each other are gang related, doing gang shit. Okay, these are basically terrorists fighting that, catching another terrorist driving through another neighborhood. But this is the type of shit that I don't align with, and I can never align with, that they don't never talk about. They allow it to go on because they're nefarious as well. Very nefarious. And when you try to talk about it, they want to, you know, try to cancel you, close out your page, give you strikes and all that type of shit.
They're anti-institutional. Conservatives believe in steady and gradual change, Edmund Burke. Their disruption. Conservatives believe in constitutional government. Donald Trump says, I alone can fix this. Conservatives believe in moral norms. They're destroying moral norms. The other belief system that they are destroying is Judeo-Christian faith. Judeo-Christian faith is based on service to the poor, service to the immigrant, service to the stranger. I went to Namibia, South Africa throughout the 1990s.
When people talk like this, it's like it's like coming off like you're angelic when you're really a devil. That shit really trips me out, because it's like he's glossing over basically. He's talking about little isolated stories and shit, right? He's he you know what I'm saying? He's glossing over basically. And this is what the left elite do. They just basically they are the provocateurs of propaganda. They are the chief provocateurs of propaganda. So the gaslighting and the omissions of facts, it's just like it's like, I mean, it's like a good speech, a lot of information, but then it's like, just basically telling a fairy tale story. It's just like the fairy tale, Disney speech basically. He could have been talking about Princess Jasmine, you know what I'm saying? And it probably would have had more of my attention than the other, you know, stuff he was talking about some Namibia and all this other crap. Like this is like basically um what they don't want to talk about. When they talk about, all of this other shit, this is the stuff they don't want to talk about though. Okay. And I mean, I admit, I mean, these are both slave masters fighting slave masters historically, but you know, um, this is let me take this thing down. This is this is what they don't talk about. They don't talk about this here. They never show this. They don't want to talk about this here. This is not Disney. This is not the Disney. The Disney left doesn't want to talk about this. This this is Gaza. They when they say we're gonna bomb you to the Stone Age, that's what they was trying to do here, and they did it. Yeah, they bombed this place to a parking lot. They leveled it, and all the people that died, 100,000 plus people that died, they don't talk about this shit. They would not talk about this shit. This is the left. Yep. This is that demon crat that they don't want to talk about. So you want let me continue playing his fairy tale Disney story that he's talking about.
AIDS. Then I went back with my friend Mike Gerson, and I saw those 25 million lives saved. I saw people living lives of dignity. And so what's
Who pushed the AIDS? Who gave these people AIDS? They didn't magically get AIDS. It's like the gift with Doc Rivers, and he's just looking like, you know like am I can I believe what the fuck I'm looking at? Like, what the fuck?
the first thing Donald Trump did? He eviscerated that program. My friends in America,
Now here's another thing, right? So you talking about they eviscerated program, the secret funneling of US aid to terrorist groups. Now they don't you probably don't remember, or you don't, because the media doesn't show you. Let me minimize this shit real quick. This Disney fairy tale he's telling. Let me show you what Boko Haram actually looks like. Because you don't they don't show you. They were using aid programs to fund Boko Haram. Let me show you how Boko Haram get down. Let me show you a bad day in Nigeria with Boko Haram. This is the Disney story that he's not going to tell you that funding was able to do. This is what they were funding with US aid. It's what your taxpayers hard at work. Taxpayer dollars hard at work. This was USAID's work right here that he doesn't want to talk about, that he knows about. He's a smart guy. He said he's smart. This is your funding here. This is Boko Haram blowing up a fucking transportation depot. And shit, we already about Al Qaeda and all of that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? But this is what they were funding. Boko Haram to blow up fucking transportation depots. But let's continue on with the fairy tale Disney story he's telling.
Evangelicals in government who want to fight sex trafficking, poverty. They want to preserve national security.
Oh, okay. I got your sex trafficking. Hold on. Is this your sex trafficker that you're talking about here? Is this what you're talking about? Your sex trafficking? This guy talking about he's got dementia now because he's facing sex trafficking? Is that who you talking about? Former CEO of Abercrombie and Fitch? That your sex trafficking? Or do you gotta resurrect Epstein?
On those Christians. So don't. So I've described three different things we educated elites brought you. We destroyed the social fabric through inequality. We destroyed the moral fabric through privatizing morality. And we destroyed the institutional fabric, what's happening right now. How can we come back? Well, we already are. I often ask people, tell me about a time that made you who you are as a human being. And they never say, I want a fantastic vacation.
I can't take the Disney story anymore. I mean, basically, this is what anybody, whether it be left, right, if they start telling you Disney fairy tales, how you counter that is with facts, cold hardcore facts. I mean, as I would love this world to be a Disney fairy tale, it is not fully a Disney fairy tale. So this is all I have. Hopefully, this is, going to. I mean, this is not necessarily all I have. I can't leave you with this. Basically, this is the thing here. Like I said, get this here 2-week budget Excel template. Get you a budget. 34% of Americans do not have a budget. All right. And let me go here. Let me go here. Get you this book here, Millionaire Savings Plan. Available on Amazon and also brokegeniuses.com. Get this book here. It'll help you basically get out of the paycheck to paycheck lifestyle, it would do that probably most likely within the first year of following the tenets of this book. My friend, I got personal friends of mine is just balling out of control, man. They got my book. Um, you could do the same. Get this book here. Hold on, I you know put this out here because basically you need a system to deal with this system, and this book here helps you uh deal with this system. A lot of people they don't have a plan, they don't have a financial plan to deal with this system. This book helps you uh deal with that. Because if you don't have a system to deal with this financial system, you're cooked. Okay. This book helps you, give you some type of base level financial plan and system to deal with this capitalistic system. All right, let me see here. All right, so this is the Millionaire Savings Plan right here. Get this on Amazon. Get this as soon as possible. It's got paperback and that's also PDF version or Kindle version. Okay, this is my book here. This I promise you will help you uh, get out that paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. It will help you basically get above and beyond where you are financially. I also do consulting if you have any questions. If you have some problems, financial issues that you need to talk about, you got some other issues you need to talk about, check me out on brokegeniuses.com. Also, you can get a paperback signed autographed copy of the Millionaire Savings Plan from me. If you go directly at brokegeniuses.com, these are solutions. This will get you from basically being on the bottom to the top. This is a glitch in the matrix, and I'm out.